Okay, we are now recording. My name is Dr. McMunn, and this is Psych 101. So welcome, everybody. So I'm really setting a little bit of time aside today to just kind of walk you through some of what we're going to be doing with this course. We have a lot of material to cover in this course. Luckily, we have a little bit of time to do it. I've taught this course in 7 weeks, and it's very rushed. It's a lot packed in there. So we get a little bit of time here to kind of just ease into some of these assignments and how D2L is set up. Whether you're an expert at using Brightspace or you're brand new to the online learning environment, I've really tailored this class to kind of meet everybody's needs. Unfortunately, it is all online, so we can't do a whole lot of face-to-face. But if we need to meet one-on-one or something via Zoom, we can certainly do that. So with that, let me kind of just dive into our syllabus. And if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and type those into chat, and then I'll address them as they come up, okay? So just a little bit about me. I just got my PhD last year in psychology, and prior to that, I've been working in the clinical settings, doing psychological or mental health assessments and counseling individuals both in drug and alcohol and mental health. I've been with HACC for about what's it been, 3 years. This is going on 3 years for me. And prior to that, I've been teaching probably around 6 collectively in the field of psychology. And then I was in the military prior to that. So for almost 20 years. I was raised in Pennsylvania. I wasn't born. I joke around with everybody and say I was born and not born in Pennsylvania, but raised here. I moved here from Massachusetts when I was about 1 and grew up in a little town. You might have heard of it, called Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Home of Little League World Series. Not this year, unfortunately, but certainly it gets a little busy in that area. So anyway, that's where I called home for many, many years until I went into the military, and I had the luxury of traveling the globe and seeing some really wonderful places, meeting some great people, and learning about different cultures around the world. It's been fantastic. So now I'm here. I teach at full-time at East Stroudsburg University, and I help out with HACC with some of their online courses as well. So that's kind of what brings me to you. I love psychology. The field of psychology is so fascinating. It really fits into everything. In fact, just kind of give you a glimpse into what converted me. I was a computer science and foreign language major when I was going through my undergraduate degree. And the last 3 classes that I took, one was meteorology. They were electives. So one was meteorology, and then I took abnormal psychology after that and just fell in love. I was starting to piece things together. I'm a troubleshooter. I like to figure out what's wrong and come up with a fix action. And then when I learned about how people kind of operate similarly to what we know about computers, it kind of just made sense to me. So anyway, that's what brought me to psychology. And as I got into it a little bit more, I found it really applies to everything. And even you as students, if you think about it, it's how you learn, how you study, how you cope with stressful situations, how you deal with grief and loss sometimes, right? Because all these things affect every one of us, and every one of us handles it a little bit differently. I always say that psychology is not a hard science. What do I mean by hard science? Hard science is something like biology or chemistry or maybe even physics, something where you have proof, like 1 + 1 = 2, as an example, all the time, right? No matter what you do, 1 + 1 = 2. Those are considered hard sciences because we know without a doubt that we're going to get an answer based on these 2 variables. With psychology, not so much. It's a little bit different because you start throwing into that individual different genetic composition, different upbringing, different family values, different cultures, depending on where they are in the world, different chemical makeups in their brain, maybe something has, they've experienced some kind of trauma or something. All these things make us into what we are, and we all act a little bit differently. So 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2 in psychology. So that's what I mean by we're not a hard science, we're a soft science. However, we do follow a very scientific method, which you'll learn about in week 1 when we talk about research and research strategies and how we try to follow the scientific model. And then, of course, week 2, you'll learn more about biological perspectives of the brain, which is a lot of science in there as well. So anyway, when we get into a little further into this, our discussions, we'll learn a little bit more about how emotions play a part of that, how social psychology plays a part of that, and it just really unravels until you know, you all get really a good flavor of what psychology is. Okay, so anyway, moving forward, try and consider how psychology really fits into what you do and what you want to do, maybe as a career or as a major or whatever. In fact, we're going to be answering that question here in a system called PSYC, which I'll explain here very shortly. So for now, I'm going to share my screen with you. Acrobat Reader. And what you should be able to see in my screen now is the syllabus, okay? I'm not going to go through this line by line because I'm sure many of you have already read. What I do want to highlight here in the beginning is our textbook that we're going to be using. We're going to be using Cicerelli and White, an Exploration 4th edition, Psychology and Exploration 4th edition. Now, with the textbook, I'm not going to require that you get the Revel version. In fact, I'm not really going to be doing a whole lot with Revel. Revel, what it offers you is the textbook, and it offers you quizzes, and it offers you really a lot of activities that you can get into if you want to. We're not going to be using those activities in Revel. All we would actually be using is the e-text, the textbook in there. So if you want to get a hard copy version, either rent it or you see a cheap version on it on Amazon or something, you're welcome to purchase that. Now with Revel, if you're waiting for your textbook to arrive, if you go into Revel and you click the link, which I'll show you in our homepage, that'll give you access for, I believe, 14 free days. So if you're waiting and you want to take a quiz, you don't have to wait very long. You can just go ahead and access this for 14 days while you're waiting for your book and have the materials in front of you, okay? This stuff is pretty much, so class discussion and participation, this is 130 points of our class, or almost 13% of our grade. This is going to be done through a system called PSYC. Now, maybe you've had some online classes before, and you're familiar with discussion posts. A lot of professors use discussion posts. I chose to use this PSYC because it's a little bit different. What I found in the past is people that use discussion posts, they tend to be very dry, especially with larger classes. You're just having 40 students answer the same question over and over and over again. So what I like to do with this program is have you come up with the questions. Ask a very educated question, and I'll walk you through how all this works. But ask a very educated question based on the reading for that week, and then answer 2 of your classmates' questions. So this will help you not only answer something that might be important with this topic, but it's also going to kind of guide into another discussion sometimes. And everybody comes up with different questions. So it may be a question you know the answer to. As long as you're backing it up with the textbook or other reading, you know, that's fine. Maybe it's a question that you're actually curious about, and that's fine too, as long as you're substantiating it with the reading material. Okay, so that's how we're going to really gauge participation. There's no Zoom sessions that are mandatory. The only thing that we have really set up in this class are quizzes, which are due Sunday midnight. Your group project, which I'll explain here shortly, which are due various times, and assignments, which are usually due on Saturdays. Now this week, I'm going to ask that you do your assignment initially, and I'll show you how to upload that. Do that initially. I'm aiming for Wednesday. I'm realistic. I know this is a busy week for many of you. It's okay if we're a little bit late on that, as long as we get it in by the end of the week, okay? But the idea is that you submit it, you get the feel of how to submit this. People can view what you're submitting, and then we're done with week 1 assignment. That's the only time that we're really going to be doing that is week 1, where we're going to have to where I'm going to ask you to review it. Outside of that, I think there might be one other assignment that we do, maybe week 4 or 5, that you'll be reviewing somebody else's, but that's pretty much it. Okay. So going back to PACBAC. It is mandatory. Luckily for HACC, you don't have to pay for any kind of registration fee or anything. So I already submitted your information to PACBAC, and they should be reaching out to you very soon to register for our community. Okay. So within our community, if for whatever reason, if you have not received that, look through your email, look through your junk mail for something from this sender. If you don't have that, go ahead and email them. This is in the syllabus. This is also in D2L. Email them and let them know that you're in my Psych 100 V06 section, and I'm sorry, Psych 101 V06 section, and they'll get you set up with where you need to be. Okay. And again, all this will be in D2L also. All right. For assignments, there are going to be 13 assignments due throughout the semester, each worth 20 points. Make sure you're getting those in, you're answering them completely. I do require that you use APA format, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. I know APA is a little foreign to many of you. Maybe you're more accustomed to MLA or Chicago writing styles, but I use APA for mine because it's part of our course that's built in, that I have to teach it to you. Because a lot of times we get psychology students that come through and they have to be familiar with APA. So wherever you are on that, just please understand this is APA, and you're adhering to that. And I'll show you where some of those resources are in case you're curious. We'll have 2 exams, a midterm and a final. Midterm is going to be, I think, week 7, and the final will be, of course, our final week 14. So just, and I'll show you where to locate those on the schedule with the syllabus, okay? Group project. We will have a group project that will be meeting throughout this semester, okay? I know group projects are not popular. Believe me, I went through high school and I went through college, and I could not stand doing group projects, okay? I'm thankful I did, because it really taught me a lot about myself, how I interact with other people, and coming up with creative ways to resolve conflict and get through what you need to get the final project completed. So to that end, I do insist that we do have a group project embedded with this class. So please be aware that what I'm looking for, well, we're going to probably experience some conflict. We might, a lot of groups do very well. Some, they have some people that work harder than others. I'm going to help you out with that process to be able to evaluate each other so that everybody's pulling their own weight and doing good on this work. Okay. So, and I'll explain again, week 2, we'll get a little bit more into the weeds as far as what we're expecting in week 2. Okay. Just be aware of these weeks. So week 2 will be, completing a diagnostic so we can get you put into the appropriate groups. And of course, week 13 and 14 will be our final draft for the presentation. Okay. Also now, one thing to note with these group projects, for the groups, all you have to do is submit 1 assignment. So if you have 5 people in your group, only one of you has to submit the assignment, not everybody. Okay. You're all going to get graded based on that 1 assignment. Now for the peer evaluations, you're going to be responsible for peer evaluations, evaluating yourself and evaluating everybody else that's in your group. This is a tool that I built in to keep you honest and keep you accountable for the work, and keep an eye on what other people are doing, and to alert me if there are any potential problems. So each and every one of you will need to submit a peer evaluation. So group projects, only 1 person in the group. For peer evaluation, everybody in the group has to submit, okay? All right, late assignments, week 1, we're kind of just building in. I understand if we miss something here along the way. So don't worry too much about missed due dates on week 1. Try and get them. But if you miss them, it's not the end of the world. We'll work with it. Okay. Week 2, we're going to be a little bit more stringent on looking at late assignments. Attendance and withdrawals. There's really no attendance required. You don't have to come to Zoom sessions. You just have to complete your work during its due date and due time, okay? And by the way, all assignments are due at midnight or 11:59 on whatever that due date is, okay? All right, the rest of this you can pretty much read on your own. I do want to quick let you know about my grading policy here. And for this class, I do things a little bit differently. I don't do a point-for-point grading system. So what do I mean by that? If you complete all of this stuff, you could get a percentage of whatever the points that you've been awarded to get a percentage point, okay? However, if you complete all these milestones, and that's 3 out of 13 quizzes with 80% or better, and by the way, the quizzes are unlimited. You can take them as many times as you want. There's no time limit. So make sure that you're getting those 80%. Now, they are from a pool of about 20 to 30 items, and you're only getting 10 of them. So it might be a little bit different every time that you get it. And if you do take the test, it's only going to give you the items that you got incorrect. It's not going to give you the answer. So be aware of that. But use these quizzes to study for your midterm and your final exams, because all the items that you are eligible to get on these quizzes are eligible on the midterm and final exam. So take them often, take them frequently, make sure you're getting all of the items on there, you're understanding them, you're getting them correct, and that'll help you as a study guide for doing well on the midterm and final. For an A, the minimum that you have to get on the midterm and final is a 75% or better. That's it. So for the assignments, 12 out of 13. Assignments and discussion or pack-back questions, okay? Pretty easy, right? So if you miss one, it's not that big of a deal. You'll still be eligible to get an A on either of those. You do need to complete all 6 group project assignments, and you do have to complete all 5 peer reviews for a grade of A. For a grade of B, a little bit less a little bit more forgiving, I guess. So if for whatever reason you're not able to get, everything else is the same with the quizzes and everything is the same with midterm and final. However, you can do 1 less weekly assignment, 1 less discussion post, and 1 less peer evaluation. And that will get you a B if everything else is met. Now for group C, now let's say that you don't want to do a group project. Some people, and it doesn't happen very often, maybe once in a while, I'll get a student that just does not want to do a group project. They don't care about getting an A. And if that's your case, hopefully it's not, you can opt out of the group project. And of course that will be in week 2, which I'll explain later. But if you opt out of the group project, please understand that the highest grade possible that you can get is a C. So no questions asked on that. So unfortunately, I want to encourage everybody to do these group projects, but sometimes I understand it's not so much people's favorites and they don't care about getting an A or B. If that's the case, you know, that option might be available to you. Other than that, meeting these minimums, it would be a grade of D. I'm very generous with that. So really, I think a grade of about 45 or 50% falls in the F range. And it's very hard to get that unless somebody just does not attend, does not do the work, and doesn't show up or do what's required, okay? So pretty easy to get an A or B in this class, and pretty hard to get an F, okay? With the schedule, so please note that the best way for you to understand what's due when is through your syllabus schedule. I do have assignments loaded up on the calendar. I've had issues in the past with the calendar on D2L, and sometimes it does not give the correct information or it gives the wrong due date for an assignment that's due. That happens from time to time, and there's unfortunately nothing I can do about that. It's not me. It's some kind of design glitch. Sometimes it occurs in D2L. But when you're ever in doubt or you ever have any questions, follow your syllabus and it'll tell you, like assignment 1 for this week is due Wednesday. Replying to the assignment, and again, I'll explain that what that means, is due by Saturday, okay? Syllabus quiz due by Thursday. All quizzes are usually, with the exception of the syllabus quiz, are due on Sunday midnight, and pack back is due on Sunday midnight. Okay, any questions on the syllabus before I move to D2L and pack back? I didn't see any questions in chat. Sunday midnight, meaning 11:59. Yep, PM, correct. Sunday midnight. So Sunday 11:59, not Saturday 11:59. Okay. All right. Moving on. Stop sharing my screen and share something else. All right. So when you open up our home page, you're going to see something. You're going to see our home screen as this. Okay. Let me blow this up a little bit so you can read the text a little bit easier. All right. So this is our home page. This is our welcome to general psychology. I have a nice little message in here. Anytime that we meet, we're going to meet via that link. And of course, I'll share with you the time that we're able to meet. Usually it's not a whole lot. I just set up a session or two in the beginning just to explain some things. And then if we encounter any major snags along the way, we can certainly set something up later. But for the most part, this is just all online, virtual, and just meeting your due dates. So here's Packback setup. So go through this and set up your Packback. Our community lookup code is going to be right here. And that'll take you to exactly where we need to go to get into our community on Packback, which I'll show you here in a little bit. Okay. Each week, I'm going to ask that you ask one question that's pertaining to whatever topic we're on. So, for example, if chapter 4, we're talking about memories, how memories are formed. Try and keep your questions confined to memories. Or if we're in learning, keep your question confined to learning. And again, it could be something that you're curious about, or maybe even something that you know, but go through the textbook and substantiate it and cite it. And again, I'll show you how to do all that here in just a minute. Okay. But your question and 2 responses are due by Sunday at 11:59. Okay. Revel textbooks. Some of you have already purchased the code. If you did, great. All you got to do is click on enrollment here, this link here, and that'll take you to Revel, and you enter your information, and away you go. You'll be able to see the book material in there. For those of you that haven't registered or you want to get Revel, you can just click on that link and purchase it through Revel itself, or you can go through the bookstore, whichever is easy for you. Okay. For many students, I find that they do not have, Nikki, I'll answer your question in just a minute. They do not have Microsoft Office. If you don't, if you go through this link, you should be able to order a home use for that. Hack did purchase some licenses for students and faculty. So go ahead and click on that link and follow those directions. If you encounter any issues, contact Hack, the IT department at Hack. I didn't actually mean to do that, hack it. That's kind of funny. But anyway, just give them a call or send them an email and they'll help you set that up. So the question I got in chat was, if you just get the hard copy, do you need Revel? You do not. If you have that when I say 4th edition, if you have that 4th edition of Cicerelli and White, Psychology and Exploration, you don't need Revel. We're not going to be doing any of the activities in Revel. Okay. All right. So note when you enter into D2L, you get your home screen here. The only 2 places, I know there are a lot of things on here. There are a lot of buttons and it's easy to get lost and clicking on discussion, Dropbox, quizzes. My recommendation to everybody is stay within these two. Unless you have a reason and a knowledge to go in, grades you can view, but don't get overwhelmed with getting into these areas, especially quizzes, Dropbox, and discussion, because that's where I just list all of the discussions, and it's not very user-friendly. Like, for example, I'll show you. When I bring up quizzes, it just gives you a list of all the quizzes. So you have to kind of go through and look with a fine-tooth comb. You have to look through here and see, okay, this is due September 2nd or 20th. I'm sorry. This one's due. It's very not very user-friendly. So try and stay away from the discussion, Dropbox, and quizzes unless you know what you're doing and you're okay being in there. A majority of what we do, and I really spent a lot of time working on this, is organizing the content. Okay, so your overview, for those of you that want to copy of, I got a nice little welcome message here for you. And if you want a copy of the syllabus, it's here. It's located here for you, okay? If you, a course schedule, again, you can use that if you like. Sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, but this will give you the idea of what's due and when. Course content. Now, if you aren't strong in APA style, and you want some resources, I've put a lot of resources in here. APA Guide is a great resource. Purdue OWL APA Guide is a great resource for you to go and figure out how to do your title page if you have one for your project. It'll help you out with setting up your reference page, your spacing, whatever. This is a great reference to go and look at that. If you want an APA example, I've uploaded a PDF document here, and it shows you. Maybe let's see if it comes up. Yeah, it shows you what a title page looks like, what an abstract looks like, how these are really laid out. Okay, so it gives you a pretty good example of what an APA paper is going to look like. Double space, the font is Times New Roman, 12 point throughout. Okay. And that's your APA example, okay? Now, anything else you need, like doing database searching. You may have to do that for some of these assignments. This will tell you how to get into the database and how to do searches there, how to write a thesis statement, how to write an abstract, all these. Any questions on papers, check here first. If it's not in here, I strongly recommend that you get in touch with the tutoring center. They're there to help you and walk you through this stuff. You may be able to catch me, especially in the very beginning. I'm very, very busy, and I don't respond to emails very quickly because I get about anywhere from 200 to 400 per day. So email is not the greatest way to get a hold of me. However, I can show you, again, use your tutoring services, use your resources here. If you need something else that's course related, go into general questions here and click on general discussion and questions, okay? And I usually go through these about once a day, and I can answer any questions that are in there. And I prefer it this way because if you have a question, chances are somebody else has a question, and this way I can answer it once instead of answering it about 35 times, or how many students that we have in this class that are asking the same question. All right, so this should be your one-stop shop, is find your answer on here. If you don't see your answer on here, go ahead and hit start a new thread and answer that, ask your question in there regarding course stuff only, okay? Or assignment questions. This is not your pack bag. This is not where we'll be doing discussions. All right, just wanted to make sure that was clear. All right, moving on. So we're on general questions. So start here is a good place. Every one of you should be starting here. Gives you a quick little overview about the course. Of course, another link for the syllabus. Here's where you'll take your syllabus quiz, all right? Also, I've included an instructor introduction video that I've created, and then I'm going to ask you to do your own video introduction, all right? Now, if you're using Safari, you might have some issues getting into what's called Bongo. However, if you're using one of the other ones, you should be okay. So like Chrome or Firefox, I don't think Internet Explorer works with D2L anymore, so it might be Microsoft Edge. So just use any of these resources any of these browsers and you should be okay. If you encounter any issues with the video, please let me know. You know, this isn't foolproof. You know, sometimes we just have issues with it, and that happens, okay? When we get to our group projects, here's where you can get into your discussions with your groups. So I don't have these broken out yet, but once we do, I'll assign you. You'll get an email from me stating that you're in group D, for example. You'll be able to go in here and talk with other people in your group D. You won't be able to talk to any of the other groups. So just keep that in mind. Whatever videos we have, like for example, this video that I have today, it will show up in here eventually once I get it uploaded. I have some other videos that I made. I kind of hid these just because I didn't want to cause any confusion on our first day. So getting to the weeks, every week is going to be about the same. All right. They're going to have an overview. We're going to have a resource. We're going to have a discussion, and then we're going to have assessments. So the overview is just a quick little introduction. You click on that, and it just tells you a little bit about what we're going to be covering this week. Okay. I'll have the learning objectives spelled out. I'll have what tasks are to be completed, and then what assessments and when they're due, okay? Within resources, resources I have set up for your chapter slides, your lecture slides. Now, I don't talk on these ones. Some of them I do, but some of them they're just the slides from the publisher, and you know, it's just there for your reading material. I do include links and a lot of videos because I like videos, especially Crash Course. Any of you, have you seen Crash Course before? Yeah, I see some heads shaking there. Crash Course is a lot of fun. I think he's energetic. I think he's entertaining. And I think it's just a fun way to learn about stuff that I'm teaching. So I like to use those as often as I can. I also like to use brain games. You'll see some of those in here. But anyway, and then you'll have some ones with me talking. I'm not the most entertaining or energetic sometimes, but you know, I'm working on that. So anyway, view these videos unless they're mentioned in the assignment. These are just for furthering your education and furthering your knowledge and way of learning, okay? Within the discussion, the only thing I know I have something listed here, you won't be able to see that on yours, but I do have Packback on here, and it tells you when it's due, okay? So this is just a link for you to get in there. So if you click on that, it's gonna take you to your account, okay? Which I'll show you here in just a little bit. All right, after discussions, we have assessments. This is pretty much whatever you have due other than the Packback. Your quiz 1, for example, your assignment number 1, okay? When you have group projects and evaluations will show up in here in assessment. So whatever written assignments that you need to have done or quizzes will show up in assessments. For assignment number 1, this isn't really, don't overthink this. Do your best. You know, I kind of threw a lot at you on the first day, on the first week. Do your best with this assignment. Read through this narrative. If you can, read through the PDF and try and extract, based on the reading in the book, try and extrapolate what the independent variables are in the study, okay? So look up independent variables in your textbook, figure out what that means, and see if you can pick out what that is from this journal, from this research, okay? Is this a quantitative variable or qualitative? Look up those definitions in your textbook and then go through this, and you should be able to get a sense of what kind of variables or what kind of research this is, okay? So go through and answer these the best that you can in essay format. Now, when I say essay, you can number them if you want. Just make sure you're answering in complete sentences and not one-word answers. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? But you should easily get 1 to 2 pages out of this. And then when you get that, see if this works for me. Yep, okay, good. So once you get that, you're gonna click on assignment, and you're gonna hit Start New Thread. Now, this week is set up a little bit differently because I want you all to see each other's work just for this week. Next week, it will be different. You're just uploading and I'll grade. But for this week, I want you all to see what APA looks like, and I want you to view each other's work. So you click on Start New Thread, and you can just say, maybe your name. It doesn't matter. I'm not picking on this. Assignment 1, okay? And then you're going to go down here and add attachment. So you can drag and drop a file, you can upload, and it'll open up a text box where you can grab the file and then hit post, okay? Once you do that, it'll post it to our discussion thread. And then you'll be able to look at other students. Now, the first person to post one isn't going to be able to see any other students posting just because nobody else posted anything. Okay, so don't freak out if you didn't see anything in there. Give it a couple days, like maybe Friday or Saturday. You should see some other students' postings in there, and you just go ahead and review them, and then just add a little, maybe what you found, if you found something different, or if you like what they did. Just indicate to me somehow that you saw their assignment, and that's all I care about. Okay, so don't overthink this. This is not a really intensive assignment. It's very, very foolproof and very easy to do. So follow your book. Look at the article, post it, and then look at one of the other students and respond. Okay, that's all you got to do for this week. All right. All right. So before I get into Packback, let me answer a question here. I ordered Revel last week, but had an issue with the code. I emailed the bookstore, waiting on a response to see if they can mail a new one. Will I be able to do the assignment? Yes. So if you go into, maybe you missed this part, but go into our course homepage, and when you get down to Revel, you can click on Enrollment. This will take you to our class, and it'll give you access to our book, and I believe you have 14 days to use that. Okay, so while you're waiting to get that resolved, you'll be able to access that here. All right? You're welcome. All right. Any questions on anything I've covered in D2L before I get into Packback? Okay. All right. So let me see if I can find where, maybe I'll just go in right from here. So within Packback, again, you can click on the link, or just type in packback.co, and go ahead and log in. Now for our class, as you can see, I'm teaching many classes. So our class is going to be V06, Virtual 06, okay? Now just for this week and this week only, all you have to do is log in and answer my question here, okay? So how does psychology pertain to your career, field of study, or personal life? And go ahead and answer that to the best that you can. I see I got a couple students that already answer that in here. And that's all you have to do for this week. Next week, you're going to do something a little bit different. So for week 2, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to ask a new question. So similar to what I did, is ask your question, make sure it's pertinent to what we're covering, what topic we're covering that week. So if it's memory, make your question about memory. If it's about psychological disorders, ask it about psychological disorders. And then go through and explain what your question means, what information you found available in the book that led you to that question, and try and get maybe a paragraph or two in here to just substantiate that you know what you're talking about with this question, all right? And then very important, cite your source, okay? Please don't forget to cite your source. So most students use the textbook, that's okay. If you have a reputable and credible website that you want to use, you can use that too. I prefer APA style in the source here, but if you don't quite have a handle on that, that's okay too. Just do your best. Just make sure you're citing your source somewhere in here, so that way I know where to look from where you entered information in this text box here. So get all 3 of these areas, and chances are you're probably going to get most of your all 10 points from I'm sorry, 6 points from this, and then you get 2 for asking answering another question and 2 for answering a second question. So 6 points for asking a question and a total of 4 for answering 2 other students' questions. Okay. All right. So a question just came up. So before we do assignment number 1, should we read chapter 1? Yes, it would be helpful if you did that. Just so you know what you're talking about when we get to variables. Okay. What is the current due date of assignment 1? I'm asking to have it done by midnight of Wednesday. Again, I know we're going to have people probably not even logging in until either today or tomorrow. So if we just get it done by Saturday, and we should be good, good with that. All right. All right. So that's PackBack in a nutshell. Please keep in mind, I get a report every Sunday night at midnight as to who has contributed, who has asked questions and completed their assignment, and who has not. I don't have control over these due dates, so please make sure that you're getting these in on time. My recommendation is do it earlier in the week, so that way you're not really strapped for time and run out of time later on at midnight on Sunday. So try and get these in early so that way you're getting credit and we don't have to figure out ways to get your posts in a little bit more on time, okay? All right. So that's really about all that I have for now. Does anybody have any other questions? All right, question came up, does PackBack have to be an APA format as well, or just for citing it in APA? Just for citing it in APA, again, I'm not going to require it. I prefer it. I can give you feedback on if you try to do it, but yeah, try and do an APA, but if you don't, no big deal, okay? I don't have much experience with APA. And again, use your resources on D2L under course content. That has a lot of stuff in there for APA. And your tutors. Your tutors, you get free tutoring service with Hack. Use them because they're super helpful and they're willing to, a lot of them have been my students in the past, so they're very familiar with how to do this. So use them, use them as a resource, okay? All right, any other questions? I was working on assignment 1 earlier. How would you cite a quote that contains a citation? All right. How would you cite a quote that contains a citation? Trying to think what that means. So anytime that you cite a fact, try and stay away from quotations. APA is scientific, so they don't use a lot of quotations. In fact, I'm going to just share my screen with you here quickly again. All right, so let's say, how does the hippocampus function in memory processing? That's my question, okay? According to Cicerelli and White, 2000, I think it's 2015, for example, okay? Blah, 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 all right? Or if you state a fact like 10% of our memories are formed from emotional responses, okay? And you got that from our source in our textbook, or maybe you got it from someplace else, like Smith and Rowe, 2018 is their publication, right? So whatever you put in here, anytime you state a fact, you just cite the source in there, the best that you can, and then you put like Smith and Row JT, and of course all this stuff is in your APA guides, okay? And then whatever their title is, and then whatever the publication is, and publisher, okay? So look all that stuff up, and that's how you do it. That's really simple how to do APA format in citing your sources, okay? All right, any other questions? All right. If that's it, I want to, again, welcome all of you to Psychology, Psych 101. This is going to be a lot of fun. I know, see Nikki, I'll tell you what, I'll answer that in just a minute. But I know we're going to have a lot of fun with this. The groups are a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to the next, for this semester with all of you, okay? Of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, ask in D2L first. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I read through those daily. Emails, it takes me a while to get through. So, do your best to get your answers to your questions in D2L. And then, of course, I'll help out when I can. All right. All right. Very good. Thank you for your attention. Look forward to the next 14 weeks. And all right, we'll see you out there on Brightspace. All right, Nikki.